In this video, I'm going to talk about CIS18A, Lab 3, Exercise 4. This exercise requires us to write a Java program that shows the total discount for a customer who purchased 20 pounds of nuts, 20 pounds of flowers, 20 pounds of vegetables, and 50 pounds of grain. Given that they would get $3 discount for every 10 pounds of nuts, $5 discount for every 20 pounds of flowers, and $7 discount for every 10 pounds of vegetables, $10 discount for 50 pounds of grains. So to start, we would create the program in our text editor, and I'm using Notepad. For the class, I would start with class food. So I chose to declare my class as food, so I'm going to name this file food.java. Then under the class, I have these members. These are the variables for the program. Int nuts, flour, int veggies, int grains. And additionally, I want to include the variables that's going to hold the discount and the variable that's going to hold the total discount for all the items. So D nuts for discount of nuts, D flour for discount of flour, D veg for the discount of vegetables, and D grains for the discount of grains. And then for the second class, I chose to name it discount, so I declared class discount. And under this class, I have the main method, which entails the object. So here we created an object called F, and this is a food type, and that comes from our first class here. So you want to bring the class name down, and you would create an identifier that would be for the object. We have the keyword new as constructor for the object, and after we create the object, we would use that object, which is F, to assign a value. So we would use the object name and the instance, which is nuts. That's one of the members from our first class. And as the program require, we have 20 pounds for the nuts. Then we would do the same thing with the flour. We would have f.flour for the object and the instance variable, which is flour, and that's 20 pounds. The same thing for veggies and the grain. Grain is at 50 pounds. Then we would apply the discount. So in the application for the discount, I chose to use the while loop because as the customer buys the nuts, we want to check to see how much discount are they getting for the nuts. Okay, so we would have the while statement, and here again we would use the object to indicate that nuts is greater and equal to 10, then we would have it divided by 10 pounds, because for every 10 pounds they would get $3 discount. After that, we would use the D nuts, which is the variable that's going to hold the discount. We would take the calculation of the nuts after we divide it by 10, then multiply it by 3. This is the $3 that's coming from the requirement of the program. So here in this section, using the while loop, I have calculated the discount for the nuts. And I would do the same thing again for the flour. So while we have flour that's over 20 pounds, that's equal or greater than 20 pounds, then we would take that divided by 20, and we would multiply it by 5 to get the discount for our flour. And then we would repeat the process for our veggies and for our grains. And our grains, we would divide that by 50, and our veggies, we would divide that by 10. So after you apply the discount, then you would find individual discount for each of the items. Then we would total up the discount by adding FD nuts, FD flour, FD veg, FD grains to get the total discount for the entire purchase. Last, we would use the print line method to output the total discount from fresh foods, and we would bring down the value from our total here, and we would state that it will be in dollars. So once I have created this program, I'm going to go click File, Save As. And I chose to put it on my desktop, but you can put it in a folder. Just make sure when you're using the command line, locate the folder where you kept the file. And we want to name this file food.java, and that comes from the name of our first class. Once we have saved our file, then we would open up our command prompt. And in our command prompt, we would change our directory to the location of the file. So as I'm in the directory of desktop, I would issue the compile program command, so javac food.java, and without any error, I can run the program. Now, recall that in our program, our first class name is food, and that's the type. Then we use discount, and under discount, we have the main method. So to run this program, what we want to do is we want to issue the Java command and use discount, which is the name of our second class that has the main method, and that would output the total discount of the purchase at Fresh Food is $35. So in our program, just to recap, we had one class called food. Under that, we have the members: nuts, flour, veggies, and grains. These hold the weight of each of the item that the customer purchased. Then we have variables or members that contain the discount, and we declare that in the food class, so that way that will convert to the type food. In our second class, we have the discount class, and under the discount class, we have the main method. Using the main method, we would create our object, which is F, and the type for that object is food. So it would associate with the member variable. Then using the object, we would specify or assign the values. So we would say object dot instance, so f dot nuts equal 20, and we would do that for every single item. So we would put down the value for the weight here. After that, we would apply the discount using the while loop. And in the while loop, we're saying that while the nuts is greater and equal to 10 pounds, then we would take that divided by 10. After we find the ratio of the nuts, then we would find the discount of the nuts. So we would have the instance D nuts associated with the object. This we would multiply it by 3 because customer gets $3 for every 10 pounds that they purchase of nuts. And we would do the same thing for flour. We divide that by 20. And veggies, we divide that by 10. And grains, we divide that by 50. And each we would multiply it by the amount accordingly as the discount amount. Then we would have the total for all the discount, including nuts, flour, veg, and grains. Lastly, we print out the information about the discount for the total, and that concludes the program. So when we run this program, we would use the discount, which is the second class, which holds the main method, to be able to run the program. And we compile using the first class, which is food.java.